very good evening to you all. You're joining us on Prime TV News. I'm Dilani Jayatilaka. Let's have a look at the headlines first. The judiciary has emphasized if there are any anti-state conspirators, they should be arrested. Salaries of SLTB employees are to increase. The strike is called off. The wife and children of Madhushka de Silva, who was disappeared during the Rajapaksa regime, are at Golface Green. A strong typhoon hits Japan after 25 years. Now for news in detail. Colombo Chief Magistrate Mr. Ranga Dissanayake has stressed that if anyone in the joint opposition is engaged in an anti-government conspiracy, such individuals should be arrested. The police had mentioned that there is information that demonstrators of the joint opposition are geared to surround the president's house. The chief magistrate said that in such instances, it is not necessary to seek judicial orders. It is a serious offence under the penal code. As such, there is a possibility of arresting such persons. The wife of Madhushka Harish de Silva, who was abducted in a white van 5 years ago, is seeking justice. She, along with her 2 children, is staging a satyagraha opposite the Golface grounds, demanding a reasonable inquiry into the incident. Madhushka Harish de Silva was kidnapped on 2nd September 2013 in the midst of the Anuradhapura city. Mayuri Noka Jayasena said that a white van that arrived in the city had abducted her husband and 2 of his friends. She said that at the time of the kidnap, she was pregnant for 6 months and now she has twins aged 5 years. She further said that complaints were lodged with all necessary sectors. She too was abducted and threatened to stop the search for her husband. Although 5 years had passed since the abduction of her husband and no justice achieved, she said that she was staging this satyagraha with the aim of meting out justice for her cause. President Maithripala Sirisena has received blessings paying obeisance to the historic Kirivehera.
President Maithripala Sirisena visited the historic Katharagama sacred site in view of his birthday and engaged in religious observances. The president also paid obeisance to the Kirivehera. Members of the Mahasangha, including the Venerable Talagala Jnanendra Thera of Kirivehera, showered blessings on the president. The president also participated in an Ashirwada Puja conducted at the Katharagama Mahadevala. President Maithripala Sirisena also received blessings visiting the other Devalas in the premises. Among those who joined in the occasion was a group including the Basnayaka Nilame of the Ruhunu Katharagama Mahadevala, Dilruwan Rajapaksha. Meanwhile, an Ashirwada Bodhi Puja organized by the North Central Governor's Office in view of the President's birthday was held near the Jayasri Mahabodhi. The Pinkama was held under the guidance of the chief incumbent of the Atamasthana, the Venerable Dr. Pallegama Sirinivasa Thera.
Deputy Solicitor General Azad Nawawi has informed the judiciary that inquiries will be made from the Chief Justice on taking up the case against former Minister Mahindananda Alutgamage in the Permanent High Court at Ba. The statement was made when the related case was convened today.
Former Minister Mahindananda Alutgamage is accused of embezzling a sum of 53.1 million rupees in the purchase of sports gear while serving as the Minister of Sports in 2014. The related case was taken up for hearing in the Colombo Chief Magistrates Court today. Deputy Solicitor General Azad Nawawi informed the judiciary that inquiries would be made from the Chief Justice whether to take up the case for hearing in the Permanent High Court at Ba or in the High Court. The case is due to be taken up again on the 16th of November. Inspector of Police of the Police Narcotic Bureau, Neomal Rangajiva, and former Prison Superintendent Emil Ranjan Lamaheva have been further remanded until the 18th of September. They have been further remanded under the order of Colombo Fort Magistrates Court. They are accused of opening fire and killing 27 inmates of the Valikada prisons in 2012. The Colombo High Court had earlier dismissed revision petitions seeking bail for the suspects. An analyst's report with respect to the 25 T-56 firearms during investigations related to the incident has been directed to the government analyst. The Criminal Investigations Department informed the court that these reports had not yet been received.
It has been decided to provide the organic fertilizer subsidy for paddy cultivators during this year's Yalla season too. The Ministry of Agriculture has pointed out that there is a high demand in the market for paddy produced sown using chemical fertilizer.
Minister Mahinda Amaravira presided the discussion held for Mathura district officials to educate them on the national operation We Eat What We Produce, which has been launched by the Ministry of Agriculture. The meeting also discussed the program crafted on the contribution that could be made by the agricultural sector for the development of the country by the year 2020. Farmers who are cultivating 2 hectares or less paddy lands are entitled to receive the organic fertilizer subsidy. Minister Mahinda Amaravira announced at this meeting that it is mandatory for the farmer community to register themselves with the Strategic Enterprises Management Institute for this purpose. In the meantime, the purchase of Yalla paddy harvest in the Hambantota district has commenced. All paddy warehouses in the district are kept open to purchase paddy. A kilo of the Nadu variety is being purchased at 38 rupees. Farmers have heaped praises on the government for taking such initiatives to strengthen them.
Deputy Minister Nalin Bandara has said that parliamentarian Chatura Senaratne's marriage was not held misusing state property as done during the Rajapaksa regime. The Deputy Minister made this comment at a news briefing at the Sirikota United National Party head office.
Addressing the newsman, the Deputy Minister pointed out that marriages had also been held earlier at temple trees. But the expenditure on these marriages, including that of the food, was met from state funds with full sponsorship of former President Mahinda Rajapaksa. But it was not so with the wedding of Chatura Senaratne. Only the hall, electricity and air condition was provided. A payment of 21,080,000 rupees had been paid for securing the hall. The hall could be obtained at the rate of 40,000 rupees per hour for any function. He said that anyone who wishes to hold the marriages at temple trees can do so. The Deputy Minister also elaborated on the difference between the present and the past regimes. The Deputy Minister said that the Prime Minister was at present using temple trees as his office only. He spends night at his residence. Temple Tree is not a dancella unlike during the Rajapaksa regime. It has not been made a centre wasting state funds.
Government institutions that have successfully carried out accounts are being appraised. Deputy Minister Lasantha Alagiyavanna said that the presentation of awards will take place tomorrow at the Parliamentary Complex under the patronage of the President and the Prime Minister. Deputy Minister Lasantha Alagiyavanna said that government institutions that have successfully carried out accounts during the year are to be appraised tomorrow. The felicitation will take place at the Parliamentary Complex under the patronage of the President and the Prime Minister. He said that 837 institutions have to conduct their investigations every year. Arrangements have been made to appraise 100 institutions tomorrow. Gold awards will be presented for 40 institutions that had carried out their auditing successfully. 21 institutions will be given the Silver Award, while 40 institutions that displayed their merits will be presented with certificates. President of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party Youth Front Shantha Bandara claims that the country is moving speedily on a development path. He was addressing a news conference held at the Sri Lanka Freedom Party head office today. The president of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party Youth Front said that the government is moving step by step sorting out the economic crisis. Last year's economic growth was at around 3%, but now it has reached 4.5%. The country has been directed to a sustainable development path under the leadership of the president. Urban development, rural development and national development programs are being successfully mooted. Practical solutions have been found to accusations made by the opposition that development is not taking place in the country. A political setback is being witnessed particularly by those who are having different political views. As such, those political parties are using various strategies to restore the people's power that is being lost, holding various demonstrations and protests. The present government, unlike the past regime, is not obstructing any peaceful demonstration.
Parliamentarian Namal Rajapaksa has recently summoned a news conference with respect to the protest organised by joint opposition. At this news conference, he said that a large group would be spending the night in the Colombo city. Some social media had described this protest as a loitering effort of thugs and thieves. It is enough to introduce a long line of revelations of this kind of mockery without the need of daylight for the purpose of thievery. Another side of the power struggle of Rajapaksas is clear through this effort.
President's former Chief of Staff Dr. Kusumdasa Mahanama and former Chairman of the State Timber Corporation P. Dissanayake in remand custody over bribery allegations have been further remanded. The suspects are charged with receiving 20 million rupees after demanding a sum of 540 million rupees from an Indian firm for the vesting of equipment and buildings belonging to the Kantale Sugar Company. They were again produced in the Colombo Chief Magistrate's Court today. The Chief Magistrate said that there are no significant facts to granting bail. Accordingly, the suspects were remanded until the 18th of this month. Former Import and Export Controller of the Import and Export Department, who was arrested for accepting a bribe, has been further remanded till the 18th of this month. When the case was taken up today by the Colombo Magistrates Court, the Bribery Commission officials informed the court that investigations are still underway and requested the court to remand the suspect further. Accordingly, the court ordered the suspect to be remanded until the 18th of this month and asked the Bribery Commission to report the progress of investigations on that day. The former Import and Export Controller, Mahagamage Gamini, had allegedly requested a bribe of 200,000 rupees from a businessman in Waligama to provide a report containing recommendations necessary to bring down 2 vehicles from Japan which are around 10 years old through legal channels. Salaries of Sri Lanka Transport Board employees will be increased. The increase will be effective from next month. This agreement was reached during a meeting the SLTB trade unions had with Minister Nimal Siripala de Silva. Following this decision, the trade unions that were launching a work stoppage had called off their strike.
SLTB employees in several parts of the island were engaged in a strike during the last few days. They were demanding a salary hike. A special discussion on this issue was held at the Ministry of Transport and Civil Aviation Services today. It was attended by all SLTB trade unions. During this discussion, Minister Nimal Siripala de Silva announced that the salaries of all Transport Board employees will be increased. The minister said that despite this decision, if trade union action continued, other groups will be deployed for the operation of buses. The minister mentioned that he was compelled to take this decision considering the hardships encountered by the people. Trade union representatives expressed their gratitude to the government for taking a positive step considering their demand.
That's all we have for you today. Prime News returns tomorrow. And in the meantime, make www.itnnews.lk your go-to source for the very latest in news at home and overseas. Have a pleasant week. Good night.